Hello and welcome to One on One. On this episode, we'll be talking about real estate in Nigeria, and my guest today is Kolade Adepoju. He's a passionate entrepreneur with over 10 years experience. Kolade Adepoju is a fellow of the Institute of Management of Consultants and a certified management consultant. He's also the MD CEO of Riel Homes, a real estate company that specializes in solving the housing problem in Nigeria and Africa. The company has many estates in Nigeria and with development coming up in the prestigious neighborhood of Ikoyi in Lagos State. Welcome, Dr. Kolade Adepoju.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for joining us today. So, first of all, I always like to find out from people, what was growing up like for you?
Well, growing up is, let me say, challenging.
Oh, really? Why?
Yeah, because, starting business, there wasn't any support from anybody.
Okay.
You had to figure a lot of things out yourself. You know, in my university days, I had to really want to, it got to a point from 200 level, I paid my school fee myself, I was friends. So
okay.
It was challenging. I mean, I'm grateful for the challenges because that is one of the things that made us
who you are today.
Who we are today. So I think and also it's interesting, it's like a journey. And I was discussing with a friend yesterday, I was telling him that everything that is happening in my life today wouldn't have happened if I had not gone through those journeys. Of course, while I was going through that journey, it wasn't something rosy.
Yeah, it feels like hell, I'm sure.
You understand, but here we are today. Everything is now a story.
Okay,
yeah.
So tell us, so how did you transform into real estate? What did you study? And then how did you make that journey into real estate?
Okay, I studied transport management.
Okay, so from transport, how are you building homes?
Actually, I've not practiced transportation like that because I have not worked for any organization since I left school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I started my business very early. I started with communications, which is printing, branding, promotional items. And,
okay.
You know, and then from there, I felt that it's time for us to start solving housing problems, and I had a lead in that I should come here. And thus far, it's been a great journey because when you know that you're somewhere and what you are doing there, you're seeing results for it, it's a proof that you are on the right track.
Okay.
So that is, moving to real estate is something that I feel that it's a basic need. Even though not everybody will be in that field, but some of us, we need to come to make sure that this thing is gets to everybody.
Okay.
You understand? So.
Okay, so before I delve into the real estate thing, I want to talk about structure. So you were talking about how you've never worked for anyone. So how did you build the structure for your business? How did you know, if you haven't worked in a structured environment before, that okay, this is how this should go, this person should report to this person, this is how this thing should be?
Yeah,
how did you sort it out?
Majorly of these things are self-taught. I read a lot.
Okay.
I study, and I have mentors. So for me, like I told you, I studied management. Transport management is majorly management. So we were taught some things about management in school. But well, I will not say all this managerial skill was from school. Even though some of it, but I believe that you can achieve anything if you are willing to go deeper into the details of it. So I've studied a lot of organizations, studied a lot of global brands, how their structure is, how these things are. I have a book that I wrote, the structure of the company. Now I didn't even know that we are going to get to this level in 2015.
Wow.
Talking about the vice president, the HR, the communication, everything. When I saw the book, because when I write, I put the date on it. That's why I know that this was written in 2015. And everything we are doing now, I just see that I've even written it in the past in the book. So I tell my secretary to just put all these things in record and let's have it so that we can even see if we are in line and all. So I think for me, I study, I had to, and I also, information, this is an information age. There's really nothing you need an information for you can't get online. So at times I go to Google, at times I go to YouTube, at times I buy books. I have a lot of management books. Probably when you visit my office, you see how my library looks like. Okay,
interesting, interesting. Even though some people will argue with you and say that theory is also different from practical. It's one thing to read about it and to be able to bring it to life and practicalize it. And so let's move from there to real estate.
Yeah.
And one of the growing concerns, and very recently, a building collapsed also in Ikoyi that
Yeah.
you're setting up your
Yeah.
estates in. Is this not a threat to real estate? How do you a place like a high-brow place like Ikoyi, how do you have a collapsed building? And no disrespect to other areas. So if there was a collapsed building probably in like some outskirts of Lagos without wanting to mention names, not like we understand, we say that okay, maybe those people cut corners.
Yes.
But Ikoyi is a high-brow area that
center.
you feel that people of the best expertise, they're going to spend their money, they're going to do everything's going to be properly done. What is, of course, I don't know if you have the detail of this particular building, but this is like the second that has happened in the space of a year and a half.
A lot has happened.
So what
Okay, so for me, I've appeared on many like Channel 2, and they asked me this question. And there are three things I think I will analyze here. The first thing is the quality of the materials being used.
Okay.
You see, I saw how the building came down like sand. You don't have a 7-story building to come down like that. Even if you want to bring it down, it should give you a lot of work to bring it down. So I think most on the part of the developer, I would say the quality of the material being used is nothing to be written home about. The irons, the brick, and also in construction, if you are going multiple floors, for the higher the floor you are going, the more details you have to pay. Into more, the more attention you have to pay. So you have to, for example, if you are going to the 7th floor, when you're starting from the 1st floor, you have to have a time. For example, if you need that thing to solidify and everything to probably properly after you do the concrete and all the time you need to put, probably you need like a 2 months. Let me just use 2 months. And you say because you want to deliver on time, you do 1 month. You may pay for it. You understand? So you don't. There's some things that in construction you don't. You let it be. You don't touch the time frame. You don't say because you want to over deliver. Then also I would say that the government agencies too, they need to be held accountable for this.
Okay.
A project of that magnitude. Don't forget that it's just 1 out of 4 that fell. There are still other ones that were there. How are we sure that the same thing will not happen to those other ones? Before a project goes to 7, I heard that they said that the project doesn't have approval.
But how did he get to the 7th floor if he didn't get an approval?
That shouldn't have come out of their mouth, because it's like a slap on even us, the citizen. Because you won't say that a project of that magnitude have gotten to that level and it's going and it's going, and you say it doesn't have approval. So I think we just need to do better. But the people I will really talk to about here is the developer. We are the one that will bear this cost, really. We are the one that many things are stake on. Remember that this is a life. Now, they said one person died there. We don't know if it's more or if it's less.
That's true.
Now, one life cannot be quantified to any amount of money in this world. So we are dealing with people. I am happy that the property came down now. What if everything has been done? They've renovated and the families are there. Generations will have just wiped off like that. Because in that case, the father, the mother, the children will be there. And you can hear that, oh, these people just wiped off like that. So we should not be toiling with this. Even if it means that the cost of construction is that, we understand that the cost of materials are going up. There are some things you don't cut corners with. You make sure that it is better it eats deep into your profit. And you know that, I believe that for me, I don't joke with excellence. I don't. There are some things, it's structural things that will hold the house, the foundation, all those things. You don't joke with it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take a quick break before we come back to this conversation. So please stay with us. If you're just tuning in, this is One on One, and I have Kolade Adepoju as my guest, and we're talking about real estate. Now, a recent report says that development activity across the commercial real estate sector in Lagos declined by 14% in 2022 compared to 2021 amidst currency challenges and rising inflation. So, Dr. Adepoju, tell us more about this. I'm surprised when I read this report, I'm like, there's a decline, because everywhere I go, there are buildings going up and about, coming up. So how come the report says that there's a decline?
I think the report is not false. It's true, because I may not be able to say the percentage. But because the cost of things are going up, especially with that we are in this. If we want to do development, for example, now the project we are talking about that won't start in Ikoyi, we've been on it since last year August, making sure that everything is. I'm going from here. I'm having a meeting with some of my partners on it. We need to see the end from beginning. You understand? And it means that if the project is, let's say, like a 10 billion project, you must know how the 10 billion will be sorted before you even start. Because if you want to go into construction, the best way to go into construction now is to have all the money and get all the materials, especially things like iron. Iron is man. If you hear iron is something else. You can buy iron for, let's say, let me just use 1,000 now, and by tomorrow it's already 3,000.
Why? Because we're importing it into the country.
We're importing it and it keeps increasing. Also, so I will get to, there's something I might say when I'm done with this about that, because I feel that there's no regulatory body.
Okay.
You understand? Because anybody can just come. Many people are telling us that dollar. But if you realize that some of these things dollar doesn't really affect it as like the way they are. They are just amplifying it. So I think one of the factors that could affect the decline in that is the cost of material.
Okay.
Also, the poverty, people are getting, sorry to say, people are getting poorer in this country, especially in Nigeria.
Especially the middle class.
The middle class. A lot of middle class that are moving down. You understand? Like normal, it should be like, okay, middle class, you move up. Some join middle class, but nice. Below people are coming down. Some lost their job. So, when there's no demand, you understand, the demand is reducing. Definitely, the supply will reduce. Okay. So I think those are the things. But that statistics, I think I will not challenge it. There's high tendency that they are right, even though I've not done any research in regards to, but it's just high probability. Looking at the factors around, you see that it's high. Also, because of the election season, too, you understand that when there's election,
everybody
people tend to just take their money in. Let's see what will happen. Okay. You understand? You'll be surprised that probably when they are doing this year to next year's data, it may have jumped by another 20% because a lot of people will be comfortable to now invest. They know where the country is going to. There were a lot of rumors, war, those things that time, but now it's becoming clearer. So I think those 3 factors can affect it to come down, but it's not going to be there forever.
All right, so let's talk about some of the other challenges. We've talked about building collapse. We've talked about inflation and cost of, building materials. What are the other challenges in the real estate sector?
Okay, funding. Funding, and I would say funding. Real estate is a capital-intensive industry. If you want to come to real estate, make sure that you have your way of getting your money, because you don't get into real estate with just little capital. So I think funding, and also I was with a friend yesterday, he's an Indian, and we're talking about funding real estate project and everything. Right there, a place called to one of top person in a major bank in this country, and they said we don't fund real estate.
Oh, really? What was the reason?
It's just a policy. If you ask your bankers for ask them, they are just running. Also, I think because some of them have gotten their fingers burnt in the past, but because you don't penalize a whole nation because of few people. Because if we realize that these few people that you are even penalizing us before, they are the people those people are even existing now. They are the people that are probably at the top now. They get away with it. You are not saying because of that you are not. So
if banks are not funding real estate, where do real estate developers like you get your funding from?
You see, let me tell you something. Real estate developers are genius.
So how are they getting the money for funding?
We, for example, I have other companies. So I think that's one of the ways I move some funds.
So you take funds from your company too?
That's number one. Number two is that by the time you start doing something little and people start trusting you, they start committing, they start buying your product, and then you have more funding to push into the company or into the project. You understand? Most of the time, most people use off-takers money. Some are privileged to have people that really believe in them and trust them, that can give them individual money. In real estate, you have more of individual money than corporate money. in real estate now, which it shouldn't be that way, because real estate is something that is a major problem in Nigeria. As in 2019, we have over 15 million housing deficit. That was 2019. As of today, I'm sure it will be like 20 million. It keeps increasing, and it's going. What is happening? This data is more scary than a pandemic. Because it will get to a time whereby people that doesn't look, you're looking so great, I'm looking so great, because we came from a nice place to
nice home, yes. If you don't have an apartment,
if you don't have a house to live in, you are prone to any evil device, anything. You will do anything to survive. You don't want to know the condition of how people that doesn't have accommodation under them live. So if we understand what this thing will eventually become, we will really take this thing seriously. It's probably one of the major problems of Nigeria today that is even moving us to this level of insecurity, all these things and all.
Okay, we'll take another break, and when we come back, we'll continue with this conversation. Please stay with us.
Yeah.
Thank you for staying with us. If you're just tuning in, again, this is One on One. My name is Fumi Jefe, and I have my guest with me, Kolade Adepoju, and we're talking about real estate in Nigeria. Now, let's look at our retail real estate trends. What trends should we expect moving forward in Nigeria?
Okay, I don't think there will be something out of the world for now. Real estate in Nigeria is still young, I still say that.
Okay.
It's still in a space whereby we're just building. It's just probably laying the foundation block, you know. One of the things that we'll be seeing right now is high rise. Okay. You understand? I've heard a lot of billionaires in Banana saying that I want to live on 10th floor now. They want to live that normal big mansion. They just want to be at the high rise at the top.
Nice view.
The views are so amazing. You know, I was at one of the property on the 14th floor, and I looked at it. You can see the whole island in one view. I said, wow. Yeah,
I know that feel, because I grew up in a high-rise building, even though it was a government-owned apartment, 1004. And then, you know, you could just see the view, the water, the view, and then, of course, it's always breezy. There's just something very nice about it.
So that will be happening more now. In Ikoyi now, they don't give approval for just, if you want to build now, you don't just build a duplex, you don't just build, it has to be, there's a standard now.
Okay.
In a major part of Ikoyi, there's some part that you can build, maybe a terrace building and all, so I think that trend will keep happening. Number two is that some trends we should be looking at is that, a lot of people will start building like modern structures and smart homes.
Okay.
You understand? For us now, we will not build anything that is not smart. It's going to be like a basic thing for us. You understand?
Okay, so well, fantastic, because you're building in places like Ikoyi. Because I'm just always saying that once you build these smart homes, are you building them just in places like Ikoyi? Because I'm saying, like the regular Joe, like I right now, a broadcast journalist, everywhere. I don't know if I can afford this fancy smart home that you want to build.
No, it's not. It doesn't need to be complex. It doesn't need to be expensive.
Okay.
You understand? Smart home means that you have smart features. And there's some smart features that can be, for example, Ikoyi now can be so extreme that you can even use voice to probably eat water or something. But you may not need that in, let's say, a place like Shangotedo. We have a project is coming up soon that we are going to even launch by next month in Shangotedo, which it is also smart home.
Okay.
You understand?
That to reduce cost.
Yeah. The three things that must be, that I believe that is at the back of everything we are doing at the company. It must be smart, it must be futuristic, and it must be green. Do you understand? If we put these three things in consideration whenever we are doing any project.
Okay. So let's talk about green, deforestation.
Yeah.
That is very disturbing for me, because like we take out a lot of fauna and flora, and we're building all this concrete. Who is preserving all the herbs? So recently I was speaking to some doctors who were saying that there's some particular herbs that used to be found all over Nigeria now, but we know with the expansion of real estate, deforestation, how do we create a balance to say, okay, we actually need homes and we need this land to be, this forest to be cut and all of that, but how do we create a balance? Because this green is also essential to our lives.
Yes.
These animals, these plants are also essential to our lives. How do we create a balance?
Okay, so I think number one is there has to be an agency that preserves this. So for example, for example now, some part of each part of Nigeria, let's say, let me use Lagos as an example. For Ekpela, there will be some plants that are there that is you can only find, probably is there that you always find it.
Yes.
So let me give an example now. Ogbomoso now, if you cut a mango tree down, it comes up. Mango is like water
everywhere.
You understand? So those parts, how do you make sure that by the time they are doing a development is coming up there, each part of, because you don't really need everything to preserve a species of anything, of any plant. You just make sure that some are preserved.
Okay.
You understand? Then also for the developer, you have to make sure that by the time you are bringing this tree down, you are putting another one there. Because even when it comes
to putting another one where, because you need like 100 acres to build this place. So where are you going to put the other?
Yeah, for example, now just a typical example. Now, if you have an estate of, let's say, 60 plots of land, and each plot, there can be it can be a mandate in here. In each plot, you must have minimum of 4 to 5 trees. Any species you can have specific trees to be planted. The estate I stay, there's no house that does not have tree there. You understand? Okay. There's no house that does not have tree, whether tall or short. But because it's not even safe for you to live in a place whereby there's no trees, it's not green. Because you emit these trees are there to preserve us for some things.
True.
So it's for us now. That is one of the things we do as a company. We make sure that whenever any estate we are launching or we are building, there is a standard number of plants that must be planted in the whole place. For example, we can say 1,000. Then we spread it across the houses, the streets, everywhere, the playground and everything. And also to government to also make sure that by the time you are bringing your I must give that to them. That by the time you are bringing your plan, they will ask you some questions. You understand? And also, although some get away without it.
Yeah, I was about to say, so how do we ensure it's going to follow up on government? Because government was the one that was supposed to ensure that this unapproved several-story building did not collapse. But hey, we are here. Yeah. But sadly, we've run out of time. Yeah. Dr. Adepoju, thank you so much for your time. I just want to, just a quick word to say to someone who probably wants to go into real estate and also invest in real estate. How do you, what advice do you have for such person?
Few things I would say. Number one, make sure that if you want to be a developer, make sure that you know what you are doing. Get the right team. That is very, very important. Because
I was about to ask a follow-up question. How do you know which one is the right team to get?
But of course, if you want to go into any business, you must know what you need.
Yes, you
understand the contractors. All those things are very, very important. Then, if you want to invest, it's not a very, very hard thing, and also it can be a hard thing. Just make sure that you get the right organization. One of the things you look out for is integrity. You understand? Because we've seen many people that have invested in some other companies and they've gotten their fingers burnt, no return on anything. But for us, we make sure that integrity is when we tell you anything, we deliver. So get organizations. Know where you want to. There are many things I should say, but because of time, know where you want to invest in. Do you want to buy land? Or do you just want to invest in this company? Or do you want to buy a property? For example, now, if what you want to do is land, you don't have any business coming to this area or something, go to where it's starting. Or if you have, it depends on also it depends on the capital that you have. For example, if I have 500 million now, I may not even buy in Ikoyi, even though I can afford something in Ikoyi. I may go to somewhere like Shangote, because the idea of it is for me to invest and cash back. So that place is still coming up. So that my 500 million can get me some acres, fence it out, and leave it for some time, and we sell it back. You understand? So, but the company too is very, very important. Make sure that the company you are doing this business with, they will not let you put all your money and you can't find anything. You are coming back to nothing. So the company is important. And also for anybody that wants to be a developer, other thing you can do is that you can start by just selling for a company. Like that, you learn, you build relationship. For somebody like us, is not. I would say I didn't start that way. I didn't start in a way of marketing. I just came in as a developer, which it also has its challenges. You understand? But by the time, the best way I would advise anybody is to start by marketing for somebody, selling.
Okay.
Get a good company that you can market with, 1 or 2 or 3, market their product. Like that, you have a relationship with the MD, you see what they are doing, you start making friends in that regard. And also, by the time you want to now start your own, you already have client base.
Yeah, that you can reach out to.
Yes.
Fantastic, interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
you.
you.
We
Thank you
hope
for having me.
join us again when we call on you.
Please, I will.
Okay,
Thank you.
and that's all we can take on this episode. I hope you've learned a few things and understood a bit about the industry. My name is Femi Onwajefe. Join us again sometime soon.
Yeah.
Thank you.